Today we're going to talk about feeling angry. We may be angry with ourselves, we may be angry with the situation, we may be angry with our friend or our partner or our spouse, the person in our life that is particularly difficult, or the relationship in our life that is particularly difficult. Maybe something's happened, maybe something hasn't happened, it should have happened and it didn't, or something that shouldn't have happened did happen. It can be any number of things that can bring us to a point of anger. And it may be an accumulation of years of different things building up. And we may have a very low threshold to anger, meaning that we carry so much stuff with us that when we get angry, we blow really quickly. So, this is something that a lot of people deal with. And today we're just going to look at some mechanisms and some ways to help us calm down. Because quite often when we're angry, we can launch at somebody and say things in anger, in haste, that we then regret later. Or maybe things come out that we would have preferred to have maybe coached in a different way. We might blow our top and express things that, given a breath, given a beat, given a couple of minutes, given walking away, we may not have chosen at that time to mention it. So things may come out when we're angry that perhaps do need to be said, but there are ways of saying things, and we may not get the result we want if we use anger as a way to express ourselves. So the first thing we're going to look at is where in your body that you're holding the anger. You may feel that there's a lot of tension. You may be absolutely furious. And we talk about shaking with anger. And actually, the notion of shaking is a really good one because we don't often give ourselves a chance just to shake it out. So the first thing I would suggest is, if you're in a situation and you find yourself getting angry, take some space, go into another room and just really allow yourself to feel the anger, and then really shake it out. Just literally shake it out of your hands and shake it out of your feet, stamp your feet. It's an energy that needs to move. And if we can move it through our body and just really acknowledge that I'm feeling really angry and I just want to get it out, punch a pillow, find something where you can just allow yourself to physically express it. A lot of people may take their anger on a run, and they may take it on a bike ride, they may take it to a physical activity, and we might not necessarily have that immediately available to us. So by kind of shaking it out of our body, it can really help. um, Taking space is also important, because when we're at boiling point, we really need a chance to calm down before we go back to somebody on whatever it is that's happening in that moment. As I said, as we've already mentioned, we can bring that anger into the situation and make things worse. If you are dealing with a difficult person who has a lot of anger themselves, bringing your anger into the mix isn't going to solve anything. You're fighting fire with fire, and it's only going to go one way, and it's going to go up, and it's going to escalate. So taking yourself out, giving yourself a chance just to shake it out of your system. And once you've shaken it out of your system, just sit with it and sit with all the emotions underneath. Anger can quite often hide pain, it can hide tears, it can hide all sorts of things that are sitting underneath. It can feel safer to feel the anger than to actually delve into some of the painful emotions that may be going on behind that. So sit with the anger and feel it, shake it out of your body. And then once you've got rid of that movement and the energy of the anger, take a few seconds or a few minutes to write down what it is that's making you so angry. I mean, sometimes it takes like a big, you want to scratch the pen into the pad. But you have your workbook, and you can either print that out or you can type it in. Just list the things that are making you really angry, and you might find that another thing, and another thing, and another thing. But it's better you have that conversation with yourself than add that into the middle of what was already a difficult scenario that's made you angry in the first place. Because all those other things, they're for you to work through and to find ways of addressing at a time when you're not feeling so charged. So coming back to the workbook, write down everything that's kind of relating to the situation. Just really brain dump everything that's making you feel so angry and frustrated. And sometimes when we get it out of ourselves, it can just help to see what we're dealing with, to see, oh, no wonder I'm feeling so irritated. I had to deal with earlier in the week this happened, and then to top it all today that happened. and really kind of have some compassion for yourself, because we are all dealing with a lot of the time. And so giving yourself an opportunity just to be that friend to yourself and to bear witness to why exactly you're feeling so angry can be really helpful. So I just want you to bear that in mind. And as we're talking about this, just take a breath. Could be really seething, and that's fine. There can be so many reasons why we get pushed to our limits, but we're not the best version of ourselves when we are pushed to our limits. And if we're smart and we want things to be different, we know that by acting from rage or anger isn't necessarily going to get the result that we want. Being calm and rational and stating a healthy boundary is going to be much more likely to get the result that we require, if it's a boundary issue or whatever the issue is. So as you kind of sit with the anger and you've shaken it out of your system and you've written it down, and you kind of explore the energy of anger, you realize that there is a lot of strength in the energy of anger. And I think quite often we're not comfortable sitting with anger. We shouldn't be feeling angry. It's not okay to be feeling angry. Actually, anger is a very important emotion, and it's there for a reason. And quite often the reason is anger for injustice, or anger to set a boundary, or anger to say we've had enough. But we don't need to express it to the other. We can sit with it and utilize that energy in a more constructive way. So just sit with it for a moment, taking a deep breath in and out, and in and out. And today's buzz word or phrase is, I acknowledge my right to feel angry. And I think that can really help. We have a right to feel angry if things are conspiring in a way that make us feel angry. We've got every right to feel all of our feelings. We don't necessarily have the right to impose that on other people, but we have the right to feel it. And I think if we sit with that buzz, I have every right to feel angry, and explore it within ourselves. We can use that situation, that red flag, as an opportunity to stop, reflect, think about what we really want to get out of what's going on, and come back in refreshed and recharged. Sending you love and support. You've got this.